Dougie here, and I'm going to be replacing this touch-sensitive, digitized touch-sensitive screen with my old broken one here on my LG Optimus. So here's some of the tools, but they're definitely not all the tools. This tool is actually for using repairing glasses, so it has a good screwdriver end on there. So first thing you have to do is you have to take off the back cover. You can just use your finger to do that. And you got to take off your battery and take out your SIM card. And then you have to loosen the screws. You've got several screws like there's screws here and here and here and a few around here. So you got to loosen all those and take them off. And sometimes it's nice to have needle nose pliers to pick up the screws and handle them if you're having a problem with your picking them up. And once you loosen them off, you can pull these off quite easily, like that cover. And this one here, you can pull it up here. Like there's several screws. There's one here and here. If you just look, you can see them. I can't remember all the numbers. And then you have to use this tool and just kind of pry it into here and gently release that side and release the other side. Then there's one more screw right here that you have to take off that will release the motherboard from the frame. So, and also carefully, you have to carefully, you can use these or this, but carefully lift the bus plugs off the motherboard. And once you've done that, you can gingerly pull the motherboard off the housing here for the motherboard. And there's a little plug here that's for this bus system for your screen. You have to pull that off. And there's a couple screws down here that you should take out too. And there's some screws, well anyway, I'll show them. There's also a screw here, and if you look here, there's a screw right here and the one on that side you have to take out. Just using that little tool there. And then you have to gently pry off, well actually you're going to throw away this one, but you should gently pry it off. It's got a little couple of plugs, lining plugs for that. Pins, lining pins. And once you've loosened off the buses from here, like there's the front camera bus, you've taken that off and loosened off the screen bus, you can pull the housing off, the motherboard housing off. You can use your tool or work away at that gently. And then you have your screen that you have to pull out, and you can just use your tool to do that gently. Then in order to for this, once you've taken that out, you have to take your touch sensitive digitized screen off. In order to do that, you have to heat it up because there's a glue on there, so you have to heat it up. Make sure that you don't have any parts that can blow around because your glue gun will, or your heat gun will blow around. This is just a hair dryer, it works fine. And you can, once you've done that, you can loosen the sides and start loosening it up. Just, you know, pull it a bit and here it'll start loosening. And you can use your tool to loosen that off. And you can, yes, you can heat it up. If it's not coming out good, just heat it up some more and you can pull it off. And then once you pull it off, you can put on the new one. Just line it up the same way as you take it off. And here it is here. Now there's a a seal or insulator and seal here that you have to take off too. I didn't have one, so I just used the air gun and heated it up until it came off, and you just have to be very gingerly with it so you don't rip it apart or anything. You don't want to rip it, you just want to heat it up and pull this kind of foamy seal thing off here. And once you've done that, you can you can use this or whatever, but be careful not to cut it or whatever. And then you can you know, gingerly put this back on. Don't touch this surface. You got a plastic film on the inside there. You take that one off and leave the one on the outside on. Once you've taken that plastic surface off, like it's a film, protection film, then you can put this on. You should put that on. Just be careful and line it all up and put it on there. Then you have to put on your digitized screen on top of that, and you can see here there's plugs here. There are the switches here that you have to put on, and you know, you have to make sure you keep track of all your pieces and put them back in there. And so here I'm just lining it up and putting pieces on. You can see you line this part in first, and then you bring down the other end. That's what I'm showing there. And there's a little, for the switch, there's a little pin there. You can make sure you line it up properly for your switch so that everything fits properly. I had to use a little light in order to see what's going on there. Kind of dark. And there's the camera. You have to. Okay, once you've got your camera, your front facing camera in there lined up, you can pop this down gently. Pop this on there. It's got pins that line up there. You have to line it up with the pins. And then there's a switch here. You have to. Here's the plug. I think if I go back, here's the plug here. You gotta, once you've lined up with the pins there, you can put the plug back in, orientate it the proper way. Make sure you take a look at that. And there's a switch here, so you have to, or not a switch, but a HDMI plug, I think, part. You have to line it up there. And then you get your housing in. So now I get the housing in. I'm just showing that you got to be careful lining that thing up there. That's just a pointer. And then you put on the motherboard on top of there. Gently line up your buses. You know, be gingerly. You don't want to fold any of these. You just want to put them in nice and easy. And then there's a little ring on top of that, and also there's a little ring on the on your face forward screen camera. There's a little ring on there, and there's a little ring on here. You just line it up and put it on there nice and easy, and it'll stay there as long as you don't move anything around. That's what I'm showing. There's a little ring you can just stick on there. It helps with the shock and so forth. And then gently line up these and push down the bus plugs. Just do that gently. Don't force anything. Just nice and easy. It'll line up. You don't want to bend any. Well, I haven't bent any pins anyway, but be careful. You don't want to bend any pins. Here's my old screen. Oh, before you take off a broken screen, you should, if you don't have a face protector, put it on there, and that'll help keep all the pieces together when it comes off, so that you don't have pieces of glass all over the place. Make sure you do that. That's kind of what it's showing there. And then sometimes you get little pieces of the screen off, you have to heat them up and maybe I use a knife or something to scrape off all the extra crap when you're in there. And then you put it all back together, and mine worked fine. Here's the other safety film that they have on there. It's, I just leave that on as long as possible. And and after I put it all together without the battery and the card in there, you can heat up the face here and kind of push it back in together. That's what I did. You can just heat it up. You don't want to heat it up too much, but just heat it up enough to do it, and just squeeze it together, and eventually you'll get it so that it's all sealed properly. Anyway, it's going to work. So there you go.